I don't think designers are going to lose their jobs. I feel like it's completely the reverse. It's actually designers are going to be so much more valuable. Like if you think about it, two important things are important for designers, right? Their creativity or their taste, and how well they use the products they use to make designs, right? But with the help of AI, it's just creativity becomes easier. But more importantly, they probably don't even need to use the tools. Like they can just talk to AI and to generate images. So this means they can be 10 times more productive.
Hi, my name is Demetri Panici, and I'm a content creator, agency owner, and AI enthusiast. You're listening to the AI Agents Podcast, brought to you by Jotform, and featuring our very own CEO and founder, Aytekin. This is the show where artificial intelligence meets innovation, productivity, and the tools shaping the future of work. Enjoy the show. Hey there, and welcome back to another episode of the AI Agents Podcast. In this episode, Aytekin and I are going to dive into the top AI image generators in 2025. How you doing, Aytekin?
I'm doing great. We are continuing to work on the AI agents, and so we are actually planning to. We are working on a new AI agent. We call it presentation AI agent. So it's basically a presenter, and it can do presentations over Zoom, or you can embed it on your website, or you can link to it. So while I was thinking about this new product we are gonna be launching next month, I've been thinking about doing a logo or doing a design, web page design for it. And I've been playing with all these different image generators to see how well they do. And also, just I think it was just yesterday, Shopify CEO talked about how they are going to be using AI for everything from now on. And he even told his team that don't come for me for new headcount, the hire new employees before you tried it with AI. And then he actually had this memo that says we should be using AI for everything because we are going to become much more productive, and we can do so much more with AI.
Saw that, yeah.
And that's why I've been thinking about how AI is going to be so important for design, because it just keeps getting better and better. And I think it's not gonna. I don't think designers are gonna lose their jobs. I feel like it's completely the reverse. It's actually designers are going to be so much more valuable. Like if you think about it, a designer has two important things are important for designers, right? Their creativity or their taste, and how well they use the products they use to make designs, right? But with the help of AI, it's just creativity becomes easier. But more importantly, they probably don't even need to use the tools. Like they can just talk to AI and to generate images. So this means they can be 10 times more productive. They can become much more productive. They can become much faster and create more beautiful designs, provide more options, try more things. So they're going to become much more valuable, and we are going to see this explosion of beautiful designs, and it's just going to democratize design for everyone. Good designers, they're going to become much more productive. They're going to do much better things. But people who cannot even hire designers, they are going to be able to do designs on their own. So instead of doing something ugly, they will have some baseline. They will use AI. But I don't think they are going to be as good as good designers, because good designers have tastes. They know what's beautiful. They know what makes sense. So they can actually start with a reference and reference design, and then they can start from there, and then they can shape the design. And we're going to talk about all those things. So I've been thinking about all those things. That's why today we are doing an episode about the image generators, AI image generators.
Absolutely. I think that's a good call out. I'm I'm in the camp of saying this is going to make more people interested probably in graphic design because they're going to have so much more easy access to it, and more people could essentially be graphic designers. I don't know what it'll. I always hold out a little. I don't know what the word is. I hold out what will happen regarding like industries, jobs, and that kind of stuff. I think there'll be a lot of benefits overall, and we'll dive into it in this episode. But as always, I think it comes back to small businesses being able to do things that they weren't able to do prior to the adventation of AI. So I'm really excited about diving into it. What one are we getting started with, Aytekin?
I mean, currently the best one. Like we are just going to start with the best one. Like just like you don't have to watch the rest of the episode. Just just watch what ChatGPT 4.0 can do, and that pretty much blows away everything else. So we are gonna.
Absolutely.
I'm just gonna start with what I have done with that. So 4.0 is like an omni-model, which means like all the other models, they're basically like LLMs. They're basically text-based models that are, that also know how to do design. Like they first think in terms of text, and then they turn that into a design. But what's different about 4.0, 4 Omni or ChatGPT 4.0 is it's basically omni-model, which means it was actually trained with like sounds, voice, text, video, pictures, and everything, like web designs. So it basically knows everything. And what makes it so powerful is it can actually do text well. Like all the other models, like they can generate all these images, but the text is all garbled up, and it's not meaningful. But when you tell 4.0 to create a web page design mock, it will actually even put it will even think about what kind of text it to create, and it will put it in the right ways. So it works so well. So before I talk more, let me show you. Basically, I wanted to create a basically a because we are I've been talking about this presentation agent we are going to release next month. I wanted to create some logo and some designs for it. So one of the things you can do when you're actually prompting ChatGPT 4.0 is you can actually add reference pictures. Like you can basically this one actually I added this. I discovered this logo just while I was playing with another tool actually. So it actually came from the Leonardo AI. But I really like this logo, so I wanted to use this logo. But I also wanted to give it a reference image. So basically what I did was I took a screenshot of JotForm AI agents, and I prompted it to say, use the style shown on the website screenshot and use the microphone icon in the logo. So basically, this is my prompt. This is it. Like this is all the prompt I have for the logo. So it basically recreated the same logo, which is fine, and it looks beautiful. And then the next step for me was what if I can create like a website design, like a mock for the website. So in this case, like I had a longer prompt. Create a website design for a new product called Presentation AI Agent. Use the new logo you just created on it, and have a similar design to this. Like you can also reference using a URL as well with 4.0, and then similar color scheme, typography, level of illustration details, and then just I provided some information about this. By the way, I had to upgrade Pro because I was just creating so many images. So I was actually on the Plus plan. And then I had to at some point, I think it was about 20 image I generated. I don't know if it's based on that or based on the tokens it used. That it said now it has to wait like 10 minutes between every image. So once it said that, I decided, okay, I'm not going to wait because, we have an episode coming up recording. So I upgraded to the Pro plan, which is $200, which is pretty expensive. I was on the $20 plan. Maybe I'll go downgrade because I don't create this many images. But basically, if you're a designer who is like doing this full time, like constantly creating images, if you don't want to get stuck in the limit, you will have to upgrade to the Pro, the $200 plan. So basically, this is my prompt. I also gave like a little bit of information about it. So the first image it created wasn't that great. The problem was like the logo was here, but it was cut off. And the main problem was in my prompt, I actually didn't define like, the size of the image I wanted. And it had this problem with the headline. So it was cut off like this here. I don't like some of the text here. So what I did was, I just prompted it. And I said, like, just gave it a list of all the problems I see. Use the logo created in previous instead of the current one. It actually created a new one here, which is actually good. Like I told it like the D is broken here, and basically, and then I gave a width to it so that it can actually create a larger image, and just made some improvement in the text. And then I asked it to like just add additional section here at the bottom, and it was perfect. Right, it created this one. So basically, this one, basically, it has the logo right. It has a button here. Like it, change the stuff here. Like just the D was fixed. It added these sections. I mean, I can continue. I can basically continue creating this mug. And I didn't actually try that because we are about the image, but I can just tell it like, turn this into a web page, and it will probably be able to also do that. Like just cut into small pieces and turn it into an HTML page. But basically at this point, my goal is to like just keep improving this design, like just give it feedback, just like I would give a feedback to a designer, like just, change this, improve this, things like that. So this was amazing, actually. I was really impressed with that. So I prompted it to create a banner ad. And it was like perfect the first time, like just this image, it created this banner ad that I could just use anywhere. And it's perfect. I loved it, like just no mistakes or anything like that. So I wanted to create this YouTube thumbnail. Basically, it was cut off. It had some problems, but I edited this. Like you can see, like 5 times. I made small changes. Like I had to like Google like what's the thumbnail size for YouTube thumbnails, things like that. But it's not able to get it almost right. But I gave another prompt to actually solve this, like this no spacing here. And then I wanted to get rid of this as well. Basically, I gave that feedback and it was able to fix the spacing here. And I also told it to, here's the really nice, use the realistic human character instead of illustration. And suddenly I went from this to a real picture, which is very similar to even the t-shirt is very similar to this is also AI generated, but it was able to take this and really create a character very similar to it. And I thought this was very cluttered. And basically, I didn't even have to open it in there's actually, when you have this, you can actually open it in you can select stuff like this and do stuff like this and say change this stuff. I didn't even have to do that. Just said, please get rid of the bugs in the image. Just it understood which bug I was talking about. It actually recreated the image, but it was actually still pretty good. So this is something we could use, when we launch the presentation AI agent, we can just use on our thumbnail for the video. So yeah, this was very impressive. ChatGPT 4.0 was really impressive. I know that you have also, did some stuff with ChatGPT Pro, probably. So maybe you want to
Mm-hmm.
share your experience.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So for I think the showcases that you had are really really useful, good insights. My main thoughts when this came out for text as a content creator were like infographics and different designs that are text intensive. I thought we're going to have like massive improvements and implications. So what I did, and I could have done a lot better at this, all I literally did was ask for a breakdown between Notion and Todoist. I just did a Google search, right? And then after that, I said, based on the text below, which was the comparisons, which is too much information, I could have made this shorter. I told it to create an infographic that sums up the differences between these tools. And it made it. And this is very general, obviously, and it was cut off because I put too much stuff on there. I get that. But this is just a showcase of, wow, I mean, it gets text absolutely correct, which has never been the case, not even close. So I said to myself, you know what? Wait a second. I want to make it look like, I like Simon Hoiberg's work on LinkedIn a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I told it to make it look like it.
Wow. Beautiful.
And this looks like something I could have a graphic designer make, right? Like it looks like an infographic I'd put on LinkedIn. And it got me thinking more, you know, like this. Is it possible for us to take the text that we generate from ChatGPT, right? And then turn it into infographics. And then not only that, but, you know, we have what I think is incredible here. It found the logos and it put the logos on here for these apps. I mean, we're working in a world where, okay, I work in apps. I do a lot of different things. So let me look up the thumbnail example that I made. I said, wait a second. If I do image generation for my YouTube channel, or if I do something like this, what if I told it to just showcase a wide variety of different app logos floating in an office setting? Imagine me putting myself inside of this photo, right? And this is what we're talking about with augmented graphic design. Sure, I'm still gonna have to put myself in there because I tried doing personal images of myself and it didn't look great. And just imagine me downloading this and then taking it and then putting a picture of myself in there, like, you know, like looking around. That's a common YouTube thumbnail. It's just these little things that you now can do where you can generate little things here and there that can augment what you would otherwise manually have to create all of those logos in Photoshop and blur them out and put it in certain spots. I mean, to me, this is essentially a thumbnail that's improved, that saved, I don't know what percentage of time, but I mean, a couple hours. I mean, doing something like this in Photoshop could take you like an hour, 2 hours of work, right? To have it floating like that and whatnot. So it's pretty incredible. And as a content creator, I know they don't have this available in the API now, but when they get this available in the API and they switch from the DALL-E model that's in the API, is going to be a game changer. And I know AI loves to use the term game changer, but actually it will be a game changer. We'll be able to generate carousels based off of text ideas that we have for social media posts. We'll be able to generate infographics for blogs that are relevant to the copy. We'll be able to do a lot. And that's what I think is going to be the biggest use case of this platform because of its text capabilities and just its general creativity that I think is pretty outstanding.
Yeah, agreed. So it's I'm pretty sure the API part is gonna come soon as well.
Yeah, they said so.
And just what really makes it so powerful is how good it is with text. Like it can understand the fonts of the so like another thing is like how good it is with using the reference images, right? In your case, you also use a reference image. I used a website design. You use another infographic, and then it can actually understand that reference image, like really even understand the fonts, like the typography in that image, and they use similar fonts as well. So it just like it makes it so easy to create something consistent. And I think that's like one of the biggest problems. Like if you are not really good at design, maybe you can create something, but it's not going to look consistent with other things. But in this case, like there is also like, you can just draw something on a paper, take a picture of it, just show it to your camera, or and then just it will be able to like create an image based on that. It understands it as well, so it's very powerful. Yeah.
Absolutely. No, I think you're spot on there. It's really weird seeing this improve so much so quickly, though. I don't know about you, but I'm like, remember when they didn't even have the ability to like, what's the word I'm looking for? I mean, this was essentially a product that when it first came out, you asked it to write any text, and it was like hieroglyphs. I don't know if you recall, but it was like hieroglyphic, weird image, like with like squiggly lines, and I felt like I was looking at like Egyptian scrolls. And then now you can create an image of someone on a street looking at a fake sign that tells them to only park between the hours of 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. on a certain street. Like it's just crazy how much these have improved.
And like I tried to use the image generators in the past, and the biggest problem I had was like, it generates something, but then there's something small, very small, you want to change, right? And you tell it, okay, just change this, and then it will just regenerate the whole image, and it's not going to be able to just change that. And like it maybe it will fix that, but it will create other problems, right? It's just you kept playing like that for hours and hours to be able to hit something right, and then even if you hit something right, like you cannot just add on it, like you cannot just improve on it. It's just but in this case, like whatever you have, like you can always improve on it, and you can always use it as a reference to continue on it later. So it's really impressive. Yeah,
absolutely, agreed.
I can go ahead and show the other ones, right? How the others are doing. Let's continue with Gemini. So Gemini 2.5 Pro is actually also pretty good. And it can also use reference images. So in this case, I gave this image, and then I asked it to create an image with the same like reference image. It was able to create this logo. It's pretty good, right? So then again, I asked it to this time create a web page. It wasn't able to like really understand this web page and create one that's similar. So, and when I tried to change these, like instead of using these characters, use something like photorealistic like this, it wasn't able to do that. It kept saying like, I'm not gonna able to help you. And then the YouTube thumbnail also, I wasn't very very impressed with that.
Fair enough.
So it can use reference images, but I think it still have some way to go. So this is Gemini 2.5 Pro. I think it's going to get better. So I think this is the first model they have this much of capabilities. So it's going to get better. Another one I looked is Ideogram. Looks like it has a lot of cool stuff here, and basically it was able to create some really good looking logos for me, and I also tried with the web page. It was able to also create these web pages. The only thing is like I didn't have like I really like these, right? But then once you have that, how do you go from here? Start with this and then keep improving on it. I wasn't able to figure that out. So maybe it can, but right. So I should select this, but it's going to a different one. Yeah. So it and it has some problems with the fonts as like the text as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this one looks pretty good. Transform your presentations with AI. Good title, but still linking to the wrong one for some reason. But with the logos, it has some good stuff. Another one I looked is MidJourney. MidJourney, like
This is a big one.
Yeah.
This is a big one.
Yeah, it seems to be really good with like image generation. Usually the examples are mostly about the images as well. Right. So first I started with the logo. It created some, good looking logos, but still has some problems with presentation with text. So it's more optimized for images. And when I asked it to like create mockup, the web design, it just shows it in a weird sideways way. I wasn't able to find a way to improve this look, and it's very illustrative. So I guess this is more useful if you need like a stock, if you need like stock photography, if you need to create like a photography to use on your website. This is going to create some amazing stuff. And I looked at Canva, Magic Media, to come up with stuff, and it's creating some cool looking images, right? But it's still like it's just a single prompt and generate again. Like you cannot like start with something and then like keep working on that. Like just it can create something. You can start with that, and after that, you probably need to edit it yourself. So it's unlike the ChatGPT 4.0. You cannot just prompt it to do something else, like keep going. And Adobe Firefly, this one also looks amazing. It's creating all these amazing looking illustrations, photography. And this one also created some, illustration. It's actually very illustration oriented, but it has also problems with text as well. So if you need to create like illustrations, probably Firefly is the way to go, because it can create really cool stuff. And Leonardo AI. And this one, what I really liked was it actually created the best logo for me. And this one, it created this logo, and because it's very clean logo, it seems to be doing pretty well with text compared to others. And just this one, I really liked it so much that I went back to ChatGPT and gave it this logo and told it to use this logo, and it was able to use that logo. So that's also cool. So sometimes, like you want to get creative, use different tools. And when I prompted to create like different websites, it actually had like some really good looking websites, but I wasn't able to like do photorealistic ones. But it was able to do some really cool looking illustrative web page designs.
It's weird what's happening with the language.
Yeah, it's pretty common.
It's switching between like English and then Spanish, I think, and then something else too.
Yeah. So my understanding is that it's basically because these models don't really understand like the language and the text. They're also just like they're creating like designs, like illustrations. They're just creating text as well, and that's why they just hallucinate so much. But because 4.0 is an omni-model, because it was already trained with both with the text and the voice and the images and the videos and everything, it actually does a really good job joining them together. Because when it needs to use text, it doesn't have to use the graphic, like the illustration or the graphics to generate the text. It can actually generate the text using the text-based part of the model, and then it can join them together really well. So I don't know how they did it, but they did it. It's an amazing product, and it's like a biggest winner today. If you need to generate images, ChatGPT 4.0 is the way to go. But they just came out. So my guess is that else is also working on that, like their own omni models. So this is gonna be good for everyone. Like all the other the AI companies, LLM companies are going to be releasing their own omni channels, and so it's going to be good for everyone. And this is gonna. And we just looked at the image side, right? The omni channel is also great for voice, video, and everything else. So maybe in the next episodes we can also look into those kind of things as well. But this is like a big moment. Like this is a big milestone. I think that now the image generation became so easy, so good that a designer, like instead of using Figma or Photoshop or whatever they are using, they can just use prompts to do their designs, and they're going to become much more productive. And so this is interesting times to be alive. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And the cool thing about this is that every time I feel like we're getting to the point where, oh wow, this is like the big breakthrough. It's like the tip of the iceberg, So next year, I can imagine a world in where we have hyper realistic, hyper editable, real time capabilities for not only these ChatGPT apps, etc., but also for tools like you mentioned Firefly, right? So I've been seeing this in the image and the video side that Adobe's implementing these little AI tricks here and there. And you can actually do filled in generation of different photos nowadays in Adobe, which is really cool. So what they're doing is they're not only doing image generation, which is obviously what this episode is about, but they're going to start adding different AI just tweaking tools, right? Like AI tools that have the ability to not only create but tweak. Like there is something called vectors. I don't know do you know what that term means in photos?
So not in photos. I know that vector images are like kind of allow you to use those images in different ways, like different sizes, like SVGs, things like that. But I'm not sure what it means in terms of photography. Yeah.
Yeah. So how it works is essentially you can vectorize AI photos. Mm-hmm. And that means you can take the different components of these different different items that were created. And you can literally, I'll pull it up for you in a sec. You can literally take the different components of an image. So let's say, for example, I want to just grab this one right here. Yeah, so like for example, in ChatGPT, when I press select and say, change this to the Notion logo, it's going to be a different experience when you're going to be able to do this inside of all of these images. I'd imagine at some point they're going to change it from it being like what's called a flattened PNG or an SVG or file or whatever, and they're going to allow it to be a vectorized file where you can essentially edit the components in your own file editor so that it's a starting point and then you can make tweaks rather than needing to go through this process, because it's not arduous telling it to change it, but the fact that it's taking as long as it's taking even now, like I could have just flip-flopped it with a Notion logo in like 5 seconds or whatever. It's just now, it's going to take a couple minutes. And obviously the speed on this is the main concern for like the ChatGPT one. However, it is the best of them, so I'm not gonna give them too much flack for that. It's one of those things where
I think you will need to upgrade to Plus or something, like just to get more speed.
Well, no, I have the team plan. It must be the Pro plan that's getting the.
Yeah, Pro seems to be much faster and without limits.
Well, $200 a month that'll get you some of the way there, I guess. I've been wondering whether that plan was going to be worth the money for a while, but I guess from a speed standpoint, it might be. But point being, this is a product that has produced flat images, and I'm just trying to point this out as a content creator. Having the ability to edit the components of the image directly after downloading it, I think will be something they'll add at some point, and that's when you'll see an explosion in creativity.
How about we do this live experiment for our audience? Because I now have the pro plan, I'm going to take over the screen and then I will see if it will work much faster. So I will try to do I will just say something like, okay, add Jotform logo here. Let's see if it's gonna make a difference. Let's compare the pro speed and non-pro speed. How is yours going? Is it
mine just finished?
Finished? Oh, okay. Okay, I will. Why don't we switch back to you?
Well, it didn't work. Is the sad part.
Oh,
it actually messed up. It actually messed up. I said make this notion, and it actually totally messed it up. So we're still at the point where these things do mess up. Just FYI, we did say how amazing it is, and I probably did make this a specific of a prompt, but yeah, it's not ideal. And you know what I do want to show you too. 20s. I showed I was working on this. I was trying to make a headshot. This did not work well. There's this trend on LinkedIn where it's basically take multiple pictures of yourself and then from all angles and then, tell it to make it a professional headshot. That ain't me. That don't look like me. That don't look like me. I kept telling it a million things to try to make it look better.
I mean,
yeah,
I feel
close-ish.
He's your relative. Like you have.
Yeah, he looks like he could be like my brother or a cousin. Yeah, he looks like he could be my cousin, but like that's not necessarily what I was going for. I was going for me. And then this one's just like, whoa. I said hyper realistic. I didn't mean hyper depressed. I mean, this guy does not like work. This is bad. And then this one, I was like, all right,
yeah,
try again. And what I ended up getting just was a consistent, mildly off. But, this first one's okay, I guess.
Yeah.
It'll get there. I know.
Should I share what it did?
Sure.
Yeah, this one, it added two logos for some reason, but it was able to add the Jotform. But the only thing is it actually added an old Jotform logo, very, very old Jotform logo, like just from ages ago, probably like, 10 years ago, a version of Jotform logo from like 10 years before. But still, it was able to find it somewhere. Somehow it found it, something similar, and it added here.
All right. Well, that does feel a little, maybe it's a little quicker. $200 a month, worth it, I guess. But overall, man, I think the key things to note here are that they are getting better. There's the GPT right now is the clear winner from what everyone's saying. And it doesn't mean it's going to get rid of your graphic designer. It just means that if you don't need a full-fledged one yet, maybe you have the ability to instead of like using a freelancer, maybe use the AI. And honestly, I can see a lot of people being hired still because they're going to have to tweak the components of images. And I think my main excitements, though, are the infographics now with this 4.0. And like, I think that category of stuff's going to get AI generated a lot more now. Very creative stuff. I can definitely still see, no offense to infographic creators, it's not that creative, right? It's text, it's a background, and it's like showcasing of a logo, right? It's whatever. But the creative work, and I think the human eye, the interesting thing that's going to happen in the next year or so, as we get more and more AI generated content, is ironically, the unique thing will become human created stuff.
Yeah.
That's going to be the weird, I don't know if you've heard this theory before, but essentially the commodity will become the AI at some point, and then the creative inspired work of humans in video and in photo will then actually have like more value, because like it's the whole supply demand situation is going on, where it's like, well, we don't have a lot of really like good creative people anymore. And sure, people don't realize, I think it's going to keep getting better. There is going to hit a point, in my perspective though, with these AI models, it will hit like some sort of diminishing returns to where they're going to cap out, right? And it will just be then limited by the person's ability to, I guess, express what they're envisioning, which will be what is the creative thing at the end of the day, right? The vision is still going to be the most important component, which the AI, I just don't see having that ability to work on, because it's all of their creativity, right? To my perspective, isn't it just trained on large data sets of our own as humans information? Like that, what it's doing is it's just trying to parrot us, right?
Yeah.
The parrot that you talk to never is the one coming up with the ideas. You're the one telling the parrot what to say. And I do think at some point it'll be very, very interesting, where it's like, okay, we can create stuff with the AI, but the ideas from the humans, will kind of still reign to be the supreme from the creativity side.
It just reminds me of what Steve Jobs called computers. It says something, bicycle for the brain, like bicycle for the mind.
For the brain.
Something like that. And basically...
Yeah, you're right.
It's just like, instead of walking, you can bike, and then just you can go much faster. But the bike cannot go everywhere. Like it cannot, you cannot go upstairs, right? It's just, you will have to carry it with you, things like that. So it's just, but when you're on a straight...
I'll pull up the clip.
road, yeah.
I'll pull up the clip. This is actually, no, I think you're making a great point. This is one of the most, I think this is one of the most profound. He didn't realize how profound this was when he was saying it, I don't think. But this is actually one of the most profound statements in tech history.
I remember reading an article when I was about 12 years old. I think it might have been in Scientific American, where they measured the efficiency of locomotion for all these species on planet Earth. How many kilocalories did they expend to get from point A to point B? And the condor one came in at the top of the list, surpassed everything else. And humans came in about a third of the way down the list, which was not such a great showing for the crown of creation. But somebody there had the imagination to test the efficiency of a human riding a bicycle. Human riding a bicycle blew away the condor, all the way up the top of the list. And it made a really big impression on me that we humans are tool builders, and that we can fashion tools that amplify these inherent abilities that we have to spectacular magnitudes. And so for me, a computer has always been a bicycle of the mind, something that takes us far beyond our inherent abilities. And I think we're just at the early stages of this tool, very early stages. And we've come only a very short distance, and it's still in its formation, but already we've seen enormous changes. I think that's nothing compared to what's coming in the next 100 years.
If you think about it, right, computers wasn't like just, they were bicycle for the mind, but it wasn't the end. Computers was just another layer. And then on top of that layer, that came another layer, which is the internet, right? And then on top of that layer, and now it's like this AI is coming, right? And this bicycle for the mind is becoming this really supersonic, rocket for the mind. And just you can accomplish so much more. But the thing is, you still have to know where you are going, right? You can't you need to know where you want to go, what you want to do. And then you can use the bicycle or the rocket to reach there. But if you don't know where you want to go, if you don't have that taste, or if you don't have that creativity to know what you should be doing, where you want to reach, then it doesn't matter if you have a bike. You will just look around, and you're not going to know where to go. That's why I feel like it's not the end for the designers. It's actually they're going to become 10 times more productive. They can become 10 times productive if they learn these new AI tools and use them, and just take advantage of them. They can just do so much more. The same thing applies to what you said about things like human versus AI becoming commodity. And basically, human using AI is now able to do so much more, become so much more creative. Even the art and the, everything, like all the products we use and all the, websites we use, everywhere we're going to see like a higher quality of things. And people who can't do design are now able to do design, but people who are already good designers, they are going to be creating things that that's not possible right now. Just they're going to be able to be so much more creative. So I think I'm really positive about this.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be an interesting world we live in. We're going to get into a lot more of these listicles, so please make sure to leave your recommendations for any apps, any listicles, any agents that you're aware of. We're going to talk about not only this category, but a lot of different categories of AI agents. And make sure to subscribe to the podcast as well as the YouTube channel, as we are releasing lots of news content. There's a lot of really good stuff out there. Llama just released Meta, I guess. Llama 4 came out. We got the largest context window, I think, ever. 10 million tokens or something crazy. We got plenty of news like that we're dropping on the podcast. So stay up to date with everything AI by subscribing to the AI Agents podcast today. With that being said, thank you so much for listening to this episode. We appreciate your time, and we'll see you in the next one.
We'll see you the next time. Bye-bye.